Today is May 27, 2025, and across the United States, well, it's kind of quiet, except for the south here, where we are going to have two areas of severe weather and still continued flooding events happening, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's weather update video. So obviously, this is what the SPC put out for the severe weather risk. There are two areas of risk, slight risk specifically, one over here in Dixie Alley or the southeast, and one over here kind of in Texas near the Mexico border. We could be seeing some severe weather. Now, our tornado threat on this day is like really low. We have like a 2% chance in both areas, kind of. So Dixie Alley and southern Texas, we could see just very, very isolated tornadoes potentially happening. For the hail threat, it's mostly a southern Texas problem over here with a slight risk, so 50% chance, with that hatch risk being 2+ inch hail happening over here in southern Texas. We still have that chance over here, but it's not as great of a chance of it to happen. For wind, they will affect both areas again, so, keep in mind about that if you're over here. The hail might not affect you as much, but the wind can affect you even more than the hail. We already do have a slight risk kind of for two areas over here in like the western panhandle of Oklahoma and northern panhandle Texas. Over here in like southeastern New Mexico and kind of like this little western panhandle bit of Texas, we could be seeing some slight risk weather. Now, flooding over here in the United States is still becoming a problem, as we do have three different areas, in fact, of slight risk. Over here in southern Texas, we have one. Even in like most of the southeast over here is in a slight risk. Even over here in the Ohio Valley, we could be having some, slight risk of rain, and it could be impactful even over here in the Appalachian Mountains, as, flooding could be even a bigger problem with a lot of people living in valleys. Day 2, it isn't as severe. We only have like a 5% chance, happening across the plains, southern plains, a little bit to the Rocky Mountains. We even have a little bit over here in the mid-Atlantic, so we could see some, flooding, but it isn't going to be as impactful. Day 3, stuff will become to ramp up again, as over here in the southeast again, we do have that slight risk, specifically southeast Mississippi, southern Georgia and Alabama, and a little bit of the western panhandle of Florida. For our climate for like the next week or so, a lot of the east part of the United States, so anything east of the Rocky Mountains, will probably see, warmer than average temperatures, especially down here in the deep south, and especially for sure in the Great Lakes, we can see some warmer than average temperatures. Over here, kind of Rocky Mountains to the west, so like the West Pacific coast, states like California, we could be seeing way below average temperatures, especially a lot of the times the West Coast really experiences, higher than average temperatures. Within the next 10-day risk of precipitation, a lot of the western half of the United States, in fact, really anything that's like drier is like the mid-Atlantic and most of the Northeast is going to be, drier than average. Everywhere else across the country is either going to be, normal, or it's going to be above average rainfall. The week 1 to week 2 temperatures, it's good. Again, it's probably going to be the same. Not much is going to be changing. However, this time the Northeast, instead of the Great Lakes, this time could be experiencing warmer than average temperatures. And that cold air might be striking, allowing some warm air to kind of enter in throughout Washington and Oregon. Precipitation, again, it's really just like the New England states that might be, below average for precipitation. And then most of the country is either going to be above average for precipitation or near normal average for precipitation. And then going over the rest of the country, we can see that over here in the south, the rain is going to be moving on kind of over here. So the mid-Atlantic we could be seeing some flooding over here. As that moves on, we could have more disturbances down here in the south, kind of moving through and maybe potentially moving into the Northeast as well. Then after some of those move out, it might stay dry for a couple of days, and then it could ramp back up. And the Rocky Mountains could be spreading some of that moisture now, and then things will start to crank crank up, and you can see, a whole, low pressure system forming over here in the Midwest in the Ohio Valley, we could be seeing more rainfall. So probably not until June we'll see, the most severe stuff of weather. So I think throughout the rest of the May, we're not going to be seeing, as, you know, severe weather and flooding wise that we've seen throughout the whole month. Well, that's going to be the end of a hunt weather video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.